Good morning, gang. How's everybody? All right, a little bit better. I mean, the summer's almost over, right? Are the kids all the kids back in school? Yeah. Okay. All right. So September, hopefully, we'll fill up the room again. Last week was full for the broker panel. That was kind of fun. So we'll get to these two good-looking people in a couple of minutes here. Okay. Here.
Am I on?
No, you're going to wear both. No, you wear both. Give that to Joe. Oh. And then I'm going to give you my both after I'm done talking. That's what you said. Yeah, what is Joe? These political guys here, But don't forget, guys, the QR code. The handout is on the QR code. Suzanne, wherever she is, no more 40-page handouts. Thank God. Thank God, okay? Who else is here? Where's Laura Moran? Thank you for coming from Rock Title, everybody. Escrow officer extraordinaire. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, gang, this is Christine and Joe. I'll get to them in a minute. Does anyone know what BORPACK is? Yeah. Does anybody care what BORPACK is? No, I'm kidding, of course. Yeah. Kidding. Yeah, okay. This won't be one of those meetings where, where we're going to talk about strategies to make more money or how to handle objections. But what they do is maybe as important, if not more important, than some of that stuff, gang. You'll really be surprised when you find out what BORPACK does for us, that we all take for granted. We all don't even care about it sometimes. We don't know about it until we know about it. And then you'll say, holy Jesus, I didn't know that's what they did. So some really good stuff. But we'll get to them in a minute. There they are again. That's Maria. Maria, there she goes. That's it. Next week, our meeting is not going to be here. And Mark's meeting in the Southwest is not going to be there either. We're going to all go down to Jim's office in Green Valley at 10 o'clock. And we have economist Stephen Thomas coming in to do a 2026 Las Vegas update. Has anyone seen Steve before? I think some of you have. Yeah, really good guy. Okay, smart guy from California, has some really cool slides. He has this whole Las Vegas presentation created just for us. Best Las Vegas just started, I'm told. So vote often and early, right? A lot. Okay. I mean, anyone running for you running for best home warranty or anything? No.
We like to just stay under the radar.
That a girl. There you go. That's it. Keep it surprise. Okay. Okay. But if you go in there, you'll see agents running, teams running, companies running. I don't know. Rock Title's on there. Did you guys win last year or came in second?
I think silver.
Silver. Is that second? Yeah. Right. Gold, silver. Is that how it works? Yeah. So vote for Rock Title. Vote for realtors that are on there. It's kind of a good achievement to have. Here's some numbers. I won't go into them too much. But the main thing is we have 11,000 homes for sale total, okay? But the median prices are still crazily high. They're not, I don't know. We went to, anyone go to Trends yesterday? And that's in the room, the Trends meeting? Thank you all for not coming, okay? But it was a really good meeting. Bob Hamrick had some really cool slides about the economy, about Las Vegas. He's gonna share them with us, okay? But no one could figure out how inventory is kind of creeping up finally, and home prices really haven't changed in, it seems like 4 years. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's been 470, 480 as a median price for a long time. So, but inventory is increasing, so that's good. We have more homes to see, okay? And do some open houses. I got to give Alex some credit. I don't know how many open houses he's done in the last 2 weeks, but he's done a ton of them. So hopefully they're going to pay off for him. Some congratulations. This is Lizette Zoya. If you don't know Lizette, she is one of those agents that stays under the radar, but she won the award of 40 under 40. So there's a bunch of pictures. I don't know why there's a bunch of pictures of me on here, okay? That was not the plan here, okay? But anyway, that's me and Mark, and that's Lizette, and that's Lasana. We were all at the 40 under 40. Christina Shipman was there, okay? Really good event. Any of you could apply for this if you're under 40. Okay, so next year, come see me if you want to. Don't know how many of you this would work for, but hey, we'll forge a birth certificate if we have to. Whatever you got to do here, okay? I won't go through these. Our July winners again, the $1 Million Club, the top teams, the top 25, the top mentees. We've been through this a million times. This is again a cool one. I go over real quick. What's cool on here? I think she's here making a guest appearance. None other than Mary Perry. 19 years. When you sit at a certain level, like more than 5 years, more than 10, okay. Makes it easier for me to pick it out, okay? So if 1 star, that means it's 10 years, well, what is it? Yeah, Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing, baby. Not a damn thing. Okay. But you've been here longer than I've been a realtor. I've been a realtor 18 years. So you've been here for longer than I've been a realtor. So go figure. So
do I get credit for the 3 years I spent here? Is it so I start over?
we'll have to take it. We'll have to take it to the executive committee, okay, which is Suzanne. So we'll have to figure out what she tells. So she'll decide here. Okay. Well, we appreciate all of you guys that hang out with us for a long time. We got some birthdays. We got the hires the last month or two. There's a school drive going on. So for Dean Peterson Elementary out in front, bring some pencils, pens, guys. That would be nice. This is going to be fun. Industry night at LVR. Rock Title's going to be there.
Guys, if you register with our QR code, there, we get credit for it. So that's, I think, part of the competition. I think they're not very clear on what exactly the rules are, but
what's going to happen? What is it? I mean, I think I know.
I don't. You know, I'm gonna have an awesome.
That a girl. Okay.
Snacks, so that's
Okay.
I mean, I think what it is that the other vendor, what I mean by vendors are industry people,
associations, right? Yeah.
Rep,
NAREP.
I think they are competing with their table, but I'm going to put my table in the running for that in general. But
okay.
It should be. It's the first one, so I'm not really.
Yeah, Chris, have we done this before?
No, this
right?
is a new thing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the board's goal right now is to bring as many of our industry partners and our members back into the building and getting engaged, and this is just a fun way to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Alcohol?
I believe so.
I would think so. It's after 5:30, right? There you go. Right. So okay. So might be worth making an appearance. Stay for a couple hours. If you want to meet WCR, you want to meet VA Rep, you want to meet NAREP, all those other associations that you might want to join. This is your chance to mingle with them.
There will be drinks because there's a drink sponsor category on that.
Oh, someone paying for the.
We're sponsoring a game.
A game. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay. I got to give LVR some credit. They're coming up with a bunch of stuff lately. You know, trends. Tomorrow is the MLS Tech Forum. Hopefully all of you are going. Okay. They'll have a table, of course. The bowling is in September. We have 2 lanes so far. I reserved 2 lanes, so that's 10 bowlers. I think we have 6 or 7 of you that RSVP'd. If you want to bowl, see Suzanne. If we fill them up and we get more, we'll buy some more lanes. So I know all the offices are going to get 2 or 3 lanes. So it should be a nice real 2-1 group showing, I hope. Okay. That'll be.
I want to announce.
With
regards to all the emails, I don't know if you guys opening all the LVR emails, but there's a huge change with the content, which is amazing and very relevant. And today, for the first time ever, we're getting statistics on the global market. I highly recommend it because it relates here. This is not about global outside Las Vegas. This is about global here, how to work with international crime. So please look for your emails. Thank you.
There you go. Rena Levy with the commercial on commercial. Okay. This is tomorrow at the Tech Forum. I don't know if it's sold out. Maybe not. I haven't got an email that it is. But I'm going just to see Jared James. He's pretty sharp. If you don't know who Jared is, hop on Instagram, Google him. He has lots of content that's really good. Really, I guess we'll call him a trainer. Is he a trainer, I guess, Seth? Is he just an industry guy? Used to be a realtor. But he's not a Tom Ferry trainer guy, but he's an influencer. There you go. That's the word, right? He's an influencer. There you go. Okay. All right, gang. We have 3 home warranty companies that we want you guys to use. But our favorite one today is none other than Stacia Brain, everybody. Stacia, come on down, Stacia. Yay!
I'm so glad to see faces here. I know that it's warm and it's hard to sometimes get here, so welcome today. Yesterday, I was at an RRC meeting and I listened to Lee Dreisen speak about ways to lose your license. And one of the things that he spoke about is how, as a real estate agent, you do not have to incriminate yourself, but if you have knowledge of something that is structurally, mechanically, something that is wrong in the home, you have a responsibility to disclose that. And not that you have a responsibility to fix it, but you have a responsibility to disclose things that you know are wrong in the home. Whether the seller has told you, whether you look at the corner of the wall and you see a massive stain or maybe a really bad patch or something, you should empower yourself to ask about that and question maybe what happened. And at the end of the day, he said, you know, your favorite D word is document, document, document. So bringing that into like a home warranty type of thing, I want to remind people that I always discuss us as budget protection. We unfortunately don't highlight ourselves as an emergency service, as we are at the mercy of the service providers that we hire or partner with. But it's important to know that when you have something on the, you know, on the transaction end that you find, maybe through an inspection, maybe from the SRPD that is disclosed, that you're holding that seller accountable to make those things either right, or that your buyer understands that they're going to acquire something that has a need. Home warranties, in all of them that you read, if you read the fine print, and I know that that's a lot to read, but I read that fine print, known pre-existing conditions are not covered by the home warranty. We don't get any teeth in the game to negotiate what we do and don't want to take the liability of. So fighting on that end, knowing that we're gonna take care of or protect people's budgets from the unknown failures that occur in a home that are covered to the level of the plan that they choose, is what we are here for. And things do happen, things do break. ACs break 3 days after someone moves in, especially in this weather, because nobody's turning the AC down while they are opening the door to move all their furniture out, and then residually have people move in. It's hard. It's the hardest time in the system is to move in and move out and move in the summer. So things happen, and that's what we're here for. But we aren't here for the things that you already know about. That, you know, hey, that dishwasher doesn't work, and you know, just have the home warranty take care of it. Don't do that. put seller's coverage on it, and then maybe it is covered if it fails during harvesting. But please utilize me. I've given you my little stand-up. It's kind of a mini plan. It doesn't give the terms and conditions, but it kind of gives you some pricing. It's a quick reference, but it has a QR code on there so that you can add me to your contacts as in your phone. Utilize me as a resource. Call me, ask me questions. I'm not on a recorded line. I'll just be honest with you, and I think I've told, if you've been in a meeting with me before, I will always tell you the truth, which is not always what you want to hear, but it'll always be honest and it'll always be truthful. And ask me questions. Let me be a resource for you, for your clients. I'll sit down and speak with them to set the right expectations, whether they use Open Public or not. It's good to have an understanding of what we are, so that if their water heater leaks and it's 2 in the morning on a Saturday, that they aren't expecting that somebody's going to be out there at 2:30 in the morning. You know, I'm happy to set the right expectation so that, you know, you look like a hero, that you provided them with budget protection, as opposed to, oh, why did you give me this home warranty? It took 3 days for the water heater to be replaced. So take advantage of me in that way. Let me set that right expectation for you. Let me give them the terms and conditions in a nice, friendly way that helps them understand. And if you aren't working with someone that you like, trust, or confidence in, I'd love the opportunity to sit down and hopefully earn business.
Space your brain, everybody. All righty, gang. Joe and Chris are going to talk in a minute. They have a PowerPoint, but just let me tell you real quick, my exposure to BORPACK from 2008, 2011, or 12. I didn't go down to LVR. I could care less, like most of you, right? MLS works, we're good to go, right? As long as MLS works, that's what we cared about, okay? Then somehow I got hoodwinked into a committee. You know, I think I met Christine at WCR 14 years ago or something, you know? But if you want to stay 1090, what if we all went W-2'd? Would that be cool with you guys? No more 1099. Let's go W-2. You good with that?
Yeah.
You want to go W-2'd? No. Okay. Joe and Christina stopped that from happening. Or remember the 40-year loan company, or what was it, 40-year listing company? Remember that one? Remember that was in town? They took a listing for 40 years. Okay. What BORPACK does is stop that kind of stuff. okay? But we have to contribute to them, okay? That $50 that you all pay in the beginning of the year, okay, that's where it goes, okay? So they're going to share some really good stuff. I'm sure they're going to tell you some stuff that you say, oh shit, I didn't know that. How does that? I didn't know they did that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Christina Shipman and Joe Bresney, there they are. Yay! All right, let's put this on you.
Okay.
That's funny that was the original title of the presentation was, oh shit, I didn't know that. But they made us change it.
You can leave now and let me get your PowerPoint. Joe, once I get this off. And then here, whoops. Okay, we need your little PowerPoint. Mess it up. Where do I go? View? Slideshow. That's it. Beginning. And it's got the click. Way ahead of me. Scaring me. Okay. All yours.
So thank you very much for coming because it's hot out and this is like where a high school government lesson meets your business. Kind of dry stuff, but we're going to make it as interesting as we can, but also just explaining to you why we exist. We've gotten feedback that a lot of people uncheck that box at the dues billing on the RPAC or Political Survival Fund because they just don't know what it is. So this is to answer what it is. So the takeaways, why we exist, what issues we face, how we're organized, how we engage, who's participating, and different ways to participate. So if real estate's your industry, politics is your business. And the reason is that you have a ton of issues. Like the apartment association does landlord-tenant issues. That's it. Most industries have like 4 or 5 bills at the legislature during a session. We always have over 100. And so with all of the issues that we monitor, we actually have to issue, people have tried to use lobbying, PAC, and campaign regulations to hobble us and give them an advantage. So we actually have to monitor lobbying as an issue because we have so many other issues. So there's a lot that goes on, and some of it is just really direct and explainable to your business. Like we've beaten a 10% tax on your commissions twice in the last 10 years. And it was just because of how you're structured as an independent contractor, it would have hit your business double.
So you're saying the legislature would have passed a bill that our commission check would get a 10% hit?
Yeah, well, unless the broker wanted to absorb it. And so, yeah, it was a sales tax on services. So it doesn't just hit you. It hits lawyers, accountants, nail techs, landscaping,
inspectors.
anybody who performs a service. Right now, there's no sales tax on that. And so they wanted to put a sales tax on all services, including you. And it would be a 5% tax. But the way that the law was written each time is that the transaction would first go, there's a service to go to the broker, and then there's a service to go to you. And so it would be a 5% tax twice. And so that's like being in the top tier of like $1 million wage earners in California, but you don't get a beach, you know? And so so there's some things that are really granular, and that tax is forever. Like we lose that battle once, that tax is not going, the government never goes backwards on revenue. They never go, gee whiz, let's cut the sales tax because people will be happy about it. It just doesn't happen. It's a one-way street. The government affairs structure, we have a 3 tiers. The National Association of Realtors deals with DC and the Hill. Policy briefing quickly on that. Right now, if you have a client that sells their home, single person can write off $250,000 in gains, married couple can write off $500,000. That was established 30 years ago without indexing. It was meant to have the very wealthy pay, but no one else. Now it's getting to the point where in our metro and many others, the average person selling an average home is going to run into that. So NAR's top priority, it didn't go through in the bill that just went through, but they have a specific bill on this. Their top priority is doubling that and indexing it. So a single person would have a $500,000 exemption, a married couple would have a $1 million exemption, and then they'll index it with when it passes, so that every year after that, it goes up, just like Social Security recipients get that COLA every year. This would index up every year, so we would never have to touch it again. Very good legislation. That's their top priority. NVR, playing defense, an immense amount rides on the governor's race this year because the incumbent governor vetoed 15 bills that his challenger wrote that were real estate specific, from rent control to tenant rights to basically they were moving the landlord-tenant balance to tenants and away from landlords. And so he vetoed 15 bills that affect us. That's a very clear-cut race. So NVR is going to be watching what happens with that race and responding accordingly with a strategy to get us through the session, which is next year. And then LVR, who we are here with, we handle local politics. So it's city councils, mayors, county commissions, and it's Clark County and Nye County. So we're geographically the largest local association in the country. We are larger than the state of New Jersey, plus the state of New Hampshire, plus the state of New Jersey a second time. And so we are geographically larger than many state associations. But we handle just the politics at the local level, at the granular level. So we fight fights like 10 years ago, Henderson was just throwing away your open house signs. They were like, oh, that's a code violation. They just pick them up and throw them in the trash. That wasn't cool. So we met with the mayor, the city council, worked that out, came up with a new regulation, things like that. Or like at the local level, Clark County has a meeting at 2 o'clock today, actually, about the land trust initiative, where they are going to own the land underneath 230 homes. And then people will be able to buy the home for the cost of the home, and then they lease the land for $1 a year on a 99-year lease. And so it's a way to basically drop the cost of housing by about $150,000 to get people into homes earlier. There will be a lottery. They're going to pay a $3,000 referral fee to realtors if you bring a client, but bringing a client to apply to the lottery doesn't get you the referral fee. You have to win the lottery. So you may do all that work and just not get picked. So we got into the process and we support affordable housing, but it is a lottery system. So there's going to be there's probably going to be many more applicants than they have spots. But those are the kind of things we deal with at the granular level, at the local level. Do you want to talk about lanes, or do you want?
Yeah, I think that, well, basically it's pretty self-explanatory, but as Joe had just mentioned, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, my name is Christina. I serve as your NAR Major Investor Council representative for the state of Nevada. And my job is to, kind of like Joe talked about, to get out and really spread the word and educate our members. Because we want to increase participation and let people know exactly what we're doing and why it's so important. So anyways, as Joe had mentioned, there's kind of 3 branches, just like any government thing. We have our NAR, which takes care of our national, our state, which takes care of the things that are happening on a state level and a political. And then, what probably one of the most overlooked, but maybe the most important, is our local. So LVR has BORPACK, the state has NeverPAC, and then we have our RPAC, which is the national level. And the important part of staying in our respective lanes is we have to make sure that when we are supporting candidates and when we are endorsing and pushing for those that are protecting what we feel is the right thing. And I don't know if Joe really touched on this, but we are we're not a red or blue. We're very bipartisan. And we really stick to who is going to be in those seats, that is going to be in a position to help us make decisions that are going to affect our industry. And more importantly, I'd like to talk about not just us. Obviously, it's easy for us to want to sit here and say, let's protect our commissions, obviously, but more importantly is the clients that we serve. A lot of times people just have no idea what's happening until it's too late and it becomes a new ordinance or law that affects them. So really, that's what our goal is. And we speak as one voice on each of those 3, but we all stay in our lane. You don't see people here at locally telling state what they're doing. They have their job. We each have our job. So yeah. Is that what you wanted me to say?
Yep.
Okay.
And as it goes up vertically, I mean, we're all members of Nevada Realtors and we're all members of the National Association. So it's us that's making those decisions. It's a committee within NAR. Christina is the NAR appointed Major Investor Council. So she's the one that she's speaking from an NAR point of view, but we're speaking about LVR level issues because we're members of all 3. But we don't, it flowing the other way is the big protection. I consulted with a national association in a former life that let the National Association come in and take an opinion on a city ordinance. And I left because of that, because I said, this is just not how it's done. You have to stay in your lane. And bringing that kind of firepower into a local fight was inherently unfair. And so the fact that it's set up this way is actually really valuable from a political nerdy point of view, because we get to have the freedom to say, we think the city ordinance should say this without interference from state or national. So local issues that are cooking right now, we've done a series on septic tanks. I've learned more about septic tanks, but the bird's eye view on this is we have Colorado River water that comes out of the river, and we need it to go back into the river. There's 16,000 septic tanks that in the valley that where it just comes out of the river and that everything just goes into the ground. And yes, we'll recover that as groundwater like 200 years from now, but it's not going to be ground, and a lot of it will evaporate. So they want to start recovering that and getting it back in. The problem is the approach. So we in the SNWA and the health district want to get to the top of this same mountain. We want to have Colorado River water go back into the Colorado because that allows us to keep growing on the allocation we have now. So agree with them on the goal. Their path, we did not agree with. They wanted to charge homeowners if your septic tank failed an inspection that had to be done every 5 years, which they don't have that now, you would have to hook up to the city sewer. One homeowner that didn't have a septic tank that wanted one, who's actually pretty well politically connected, was quoted $200,000 to hook up to city sewer because it was a quarter of a mile away, and he would have to pay to run that main line down the street. And that stigmatizes properties. We are not okay with people stigmatizing properties, creating a lower class of properties where there's homeowners are being penalized and put into a lower price class of properties. We fight that tooth and nail. There are different ways that they've tried to do that over the years inadvertently. They tried to do it with swimming pool houses with barriers, making it so that you had to retrofit at the point of sale. And we told them, do or do not. There is no try. You need to either just tell people you have to retrofit them now if it's that much of a safety issue, but you're not putting that on us at the point of sale. And so stigmatizing properties we're not okay with. They were doing that with the original proposal. Within 30 days, we had the chair of the SNHD in speaking to our political affairs committee, and they rolled back all of the things that we found onerous and implemented all of our solutions before they decided to abandon the project altogether because homeowners were very upset about it. So we're monitoring that. It's going to end up getting there. Our advice to them is pay for the homeowners to switch over that you can afford and get more money from the feds to do it. That's our solution. Don't penalize our homeowners. Don't stigmatize properties. So we deal with those really granular issues. If you save someone from buying a property that could have a $200,000 risk, they're not just going to keep you as a realtor. They're going to tell all of their friends, my realtor is the smartest one on the planet, and you are crazy not to work with them. That's where knowing these issues gives you soft power as a realtor. And then data centers, everyone is talking about that. We have 11 already in the Valley. There's some good corporate partners like Switch. They're actually neighbors of LVR. They have 16 buildings, and that's considered one data center. So they've been here for a while. What people are worried about are issues like your power bill going up because we accommodate the increased capacity that the data centers bring, and we all pay for that increase in capacity. So we're working to fight that. Water consumption we don't need to worry about because the SNWA is restrictive. They're like leading in the world on being restrictive, and so no one's getting an evaporative cooling data center approved here. Those have been illegal for a while. So we don't need to worry as much about the water issues. What we need to worry about are we don't want rolling blackouts to keep the data centers running. I know that sounds crazy, but some things that are crazy are happening in other parts of the country. And so we're monitoring all of those. On the East Coast, which is kind of data center alley, there's a 13 state power consortium that just told the data centers, we will turn you off next summer because we don't have the capacity to serve you. So they are having to deal with the data centers pushing them over their delivery capacity during summer months. We just want to make sure that this doesn't become a place where you can't afford to buy a home because power rates are so high that you are servicing because you're servicing industries that moved here that are very consumptive. So we're watching that one as well. And the Political Affairs Committee speaker next month is on, we're going to skip this one, right? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. Skip.
And so skipping this one, yes. But the next Political Affairs Committee is going to be on data centers. That's the date, Thursday, September 10th at 10 a.m. So how to participate?
I'm going to grab that one. Are you all
Yep,
done?
yep.
Or do you want to go into the recent elections and
Yep.
what we're heading into?
Yep, I'll come
And then
back.
I'll finish up with the
Yep.
path to participation.
Okay, so coming out of the primary, we just have a handful of candidates we're supporting. What's important is that you vote. A third of our members are Democrats, a third are Republicans. Actually, 30% are Democrats, 30% are Republicans, 40% are independents. So y'all kind of cancel each other out. And so vote your conscience. The most important thing is you vote. We don't know who you vote for. That's secret. But the fact that you voted is public record. So we know that 89% of our realtors voted in the last presidential election. 89% versus 72% of the general public. When you tell an elected official that, they usually say something along the lines of, what are your issues and how can I learn more about them? Because when you're the largest trade association in the state by numbers and you vote, they know that you are a large educated block of voters. It is more efficient for them to talk to you and gain your support than it is just go out willy-nilly and talk to the people. So that makes you a valuable commodity. We exist to create an incentive for elected officials to learn your issues and not treat you poorly. That's the reason we exist. Here's who we've vetted. Haiti Kasama is a realtor. She's running for county commission. She's been an assemblywoman for 4 years. She has our endorsement for county commission, District F. And so like Summerlin, west side of the valley. Jim Gibson won his primary. Oh, I just knocked this down. That's going to make lots of bumps on the recording. Sorry. He won his primary in a very strongly Democratic seat. So he's going to win. We backed him early. He's always been very responsive on our issues of great on retail politics, like someone needed a stoplight near a school and he got it for them quickly. Michelle Romero, again, same situation. She got the most votes in the primary, but didn't win outright. She was 1/4% below just winning outright and not having a fall election. But she has a fall election, but she's going to win by a landslide. We were backing her in the primary. We still back her in the general. Also very responsive and has helped streamline the planning process for new builds in Henderson. So she's been a real ally. Scott Black is a councilman in North Las Vegas. Really stark contrast for us there. So Scott has always been very proactive about reaching out to us on our issues. His opponent authored a rent control bill while she was at the legislature. So really clear distinction there. So we are working with Scott to get him elected. He actually got 1,000 fewer votes than her in the primary, but it's not. He's got some work to do, but that should be a really close race for us in the general, but it's a very important race for us. Esmeralda Vieta, also in North Las Vegas. Esme is a realtor. You'll see her at the Political Affairs Committee meetings. She's at almost every one of them. She's a planning commissioner in North Las Vegas right now and has been endorsed by every single member of the city council there right now to move up to her seat because her council person is term limited out. And then that is it on the people that we support. I'm going to go back to here.
Yeah. So I guess I want to start real quick because we've done a lot of talking. Does anybody have any like just general questions before we move on to the how to participate? Idea, yeah.
So my general question is, as real estate agent, judges are influencing decisions, especially for property managers and our industry. I think that, when we go and vote for judges, we don't know their view on, regardless if they're Democratic, or Republicans. What would tool or how can we really, they claim that they're bipartisan, but in reality, everyone has, it's really important, especially for me, to know what the judges view on different issues of real estate.
Yeah.
So that's something that always runs in my mind, like how do we overcome this?
Well, it has changed. The structure of it's changed. It was kind of sneaky. So it used to be that we would interview and back justices of the peace because they would be the ones that were the arbiters of evictions. And then the judges that we had backed for years would graduate and move up and become district court judges, and we'd stop supporting them, and they would be very confused. But we didn't have a lot in district court. It's criminal actions and larger scale crimes. And so it was a weird system to start. But then at the JP level, what they noticed was they couldn't win because on one side of the eviction equation is us holding their feet to the fire on being fair to landlords. On the other side of the equation, depending on how high rents are, how high unemployment is, can be an immense amount of public pressure for an elected position. So they did something that some people call sneaky and some people call smart. They found a portion of the law that allows them to hire a former judge to handle overflow. And so there is a man named Hearing Master Brown, who is a former judge and former state legislator, and he hears all of the evictions. He is appointed, his name is never on a ballot, and so he doesn't listen to any of us. So Hearing Master Brown teaches a course for us every year on what he does and why he does it. So we do have input with him, and I have an old relationship with him because he was a state legislator when I was a staffer at the state legislature. My first term there was his last term. So he comes in and speaks to us every year, but there's no one to back for us on evictions anymore because the judges figured out they don't want to handle that hot potato. And it actually works pretty smoothly because Hearing Master Brown is fair-minded and calls balls and strikes down the middle. The risk with that is if you get someone who doesn't and they're appointed. Yep.
Anybody else with any other questions? Okay, so now the most important part, all the information on what it is that we're doing behind the scene, and something that Tim had mentioned earlier on. The way that LVR in the system has worked for many, many years is that when you get your annual dues, I think it's in January, you have that little box at the bottom if you want to contribute to the PSF. PSF is Political Survival Fund. It's different names. It all goes into the same big bucket. But the PSF is the money that funds the work that we're doing behind the screen. So this is not funded, and actually legally cannot be funded by your dues. This has to be a completely voluntary contribution or investment into yourself and the industry that you work for and the clients that you're working for. So every time somebody is checking off that box saying we don't want to participate, and trust me, I get it. The dues are high. It's a tough time of year coming January. And I mean, we're all tempted to want to uncheck that box because it's just not a good time for that extra investment. However, please, we're asking that if you could take a second chance to really think about that. Maybe if it's not the right time to invest at that time in January and you need to uncheck the box financially, we've all been there, find another time throughout the year, like maybe today I can help you. One of the things that we noticed this year early on in our first quarter is, which this was mind-blowing and staggering to me, I think based on everything you guys have heard, even the simple things like taxes on your services, and how it can impact you directly and your family, not the overwhelming effect that it could have on the community as well. But what we found is, I think it was less than 30%, I think it was 28% of our Las Vegas Realtor members are participating. And when I say participating, they are contributing $15 per year. That box, that means an overwhelming 75%-ish are checking off that box. And this is where it became like the big red flag for me that this is a problem. And I don't believe that it's because real estate agents don't care and don't want to contribute and don't want to participate. I think it's because they don't know what we're doing. And that's our fault as leaders, that we haven't been more in a stance of education, of coming out here and doing these road shows and talking to the membership about the important work that we're doing on behalf of you behind the scenes. But like anything in life, we can't do it without the support, with your participation. And unfortunately, that also means money. When it comes to these relationships with politicians who are creating the rules and the laws that we all have to abide by, we have to be able to have a seat at that table and have that conversation with them. And the only way to get that is to be able to help contribute to their campaign. So you can kind of see how this becomes a well-oiled machine, but we need everybody putting a little bit of gas in that tank for us to continue to operate. So my ask for you today is start participating, whatever that participation looks like. The very first thing that you can do is get more involved at LVR in the committee. There's a political affairs committee. They meet, I believe, every single month. Political affairs is a great way to just stay on top of what exactly is happening. I think it's probably one of the most important committees that's happening down there at LVR. You really separate yourself as a real estate agent and a professional and an expert in your field if you're down there and you're understanding what's happening and what's coming down the pipelines before it happens. Things like these septic tank ordinances that are happening. I mean, imagine being that real estate agent that a seller is calling and you're the one informing them of this, and they really had no idea. And the 3 other agents they've interviewed didn't even bring up that they're on a septic tank. So this is how you differentiate yourself. So come to the political affairs meetings every month if you can. Above and beyond that, like I said, participation level, my goal, and I know that this is going to sound ridiculous, I don't care. My goal is 100% participation. In my mind, there is not one real estate agent in our market that should have a license that can't participate at the minimum level. The fair share minimum participation is $15. So if everybody can participate at $15, that's what my goal is. The only way to get there, though, is through education to you guys, and then you guys helping be the branch that gets me in front of, your colleagues, your friends, the other agents that you sit and have lunch with. Have you guys ever heard of this? We found out some really cool information this morning at our sales meeting, and I think you should get involved. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. Find me on social media. I'll give you my cell phone numbers. I would be happy to come and talk. If you have a sales office or a sales team underneath you, or just a friends that want to have me join you for lunch, I can come and talk all day about this. Above and beyond, of course, there are other ways of participating. There are levels of participation. Of course, $15 is that getting in. In my opinion, once you get in, you kind of get sucked in like anything that you become passionate about. And then this is where I come in, the Major Investor Council. There's levels of participation. To become a major investor is $1,000 a year, and then you go up from there. Mary, you're in Hall of Fame now, yeah? Yes, 25,000 level. So Mary obviously has been involved for many, many years and has been participating and investing her money where her mouth is in terms of protecting her industry, her clients, her business, and so on. And then you go into, and when you get into these, we can go down the rabbit hole on getting involved in that, but it does put you in access and in the rooms of other major investors across the U.S., other real estate agents who, then you can build referrals from. Rena talks a lot about, global and working outside of our market, whether it be across the U.S. or across the nation. And these are the kinds of ways that you can do that because it just kind of elevates you in your business. When you come next week, what is it? It's actually in September, not next week. We have our general membership meeting. If any of you ever come to the general membership meeting at the Durango, you probably see me right inside the door asking you for $20 or $50 for raffle tickets. We do PSF raffle tickets. This does go towards your participation. So if you buy one raffle ticket at $20, you've now participated in PSF and you've done my ask, which is getting us to 100%. So if you go to the next general membership meeting, come and say hi to me, buy your raffle ticket, get an opportunity to win a prize. We have some other drawings. The winner of the raffle ticket every year gets their annual dues paid. So that's what that one raffle ticket that goes in there.
And we're trying to also get creative on other ways that you can get involved. Azim Jessa is one of our PAC members, and he's Canadian. And so he's organizing Buy a Canadian a Beer Night on October 27th. There's a Knights game versus the Ottawa Senators. And so we're still making sure our insurance allows us, but we're going to have a pregame party at the realtor's office, then have a bus that takes everyone to the game. And depending on what level ticket you get, you either get your own tickets and just go to the party and go to the game. We're trying to get Chance, the mascot, to do photos there, and a couple of the Knights sports vloggers to come and talk to people. So it'll be a Knights themed fundraiser, but then the challenge when you get to the game is to find someone in an Ottawa Senators jersey who's from Canada, buy them a beer, take a selfie, and put it on Facebook. And so he's going to push that, and we're going to try and use the international cooperation angle to promote it with a little more flair. But Azim is all down for it because I told him he'd be the mascot for the event.
And an important part of that, I mean, again, just kind of thinking outside the box, Rena mentioned it also, the whole global aspect. If you read that email that came out this morning from LVR, the statistics show that Canadians are our #1 buyer. I always find it interesting when you hear like little hot takes, but from what people think they know, and everyone says, not to be in any way offensive, but everyone always says, oh, China's buying all of our land. It's actually, no, Canadians are our #1 buyer in our community. And Mexico's
Yeah.
number 2. So like it's interesting, when you pay attention, but what a great thing. I just sold a property and closed a couple weeks ago for a Canadian buyer. And come join us, buy a Canadian and put it on your social media, buy a Canadian a beer, and build those relationships outside of the community.
Well, and the thing is, if you go to buy a Canadian a beer at the game and you're saying, hey, the Las Vegas Realtors have buy a Canadian a beer night tonight, you're talking to someone who could afford to fly here for the most expensive ticket in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lead. And so there's a personal aspect to it
Yeah.
as well. And so we're excited to try and get, our new CEO has worked in some places where they've done some really creative and really successful things that are a win-win. They're fun and interesting for the members, and they actually get the word out about what the PAC does and why it's valuable. And that was
I
all
pointed
had.
out Mary's. Anybody else in the room a major investor? Rena, you as well?
I am, and I just want to share a story about Mary. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You know that. About 3 years ago, I think it was, 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm one, and I have to admit, I used to opt out. And I said, this association is making so much money. It's ignorance, right? Here I am on the leadership. When it came to our BORPACK or RPAC, I just didn't understand what they were doing and why they need money. One day, Mary calls me out of the blue, 2 p.m. What are you doing tonight? And I said, why? Mary, why? And she goes, well, I have a party and I can bring someone. So I'm going to come pick you up. I think it was at 5 p.m. And I said, okay, come party, sure, drinks, let's meet people. And so she picks me up from my house. I don't know if you remember. And where did she take me? To
an art
meeting, right? So it's like, oh, shit. But I have to tell you, this is where I switched and got to know, because this is where I was educated. And this is when I understood that I've been doing it for 30 years. This is my career. And these people, this organization is fighting about not only property rights, but for our rights as well. And that was the night that shifted my mindset. So it's all about the mindset. And now I've became a major investor. And when I say tree, it didn't take much money, but even $15, $25 makes a huge change. So thank you, Mary. And thank you, Christina,
Yeah.
for pulling me
Thank you.
back again.
Of course.
So
Joe, how long ago were you at this office when you were begging for money?
I
and what
remember.
happened with me and you?
Yeah. And it's a new day. We could probably bring that program back. We had the idea, this was back, that movie, The 300, about the Spartans having the fight at Thermopylae?
Yeah.
Well, that movie had just come out. And we were trying to drum up ways to get people investing at the lower levels. And so we thought, what if we have a group called The 300? It's 300 people who give $25 a month for all year. So that's $300 a year. So 300 people at $300 a year, it's $90,000 for the fund. And you've got 300 people who every month they feel invested because they see that transaction go through.
Yeah, but things change. Back
Yep.
then, he would, BORPAC, RPAC would come in, they'd say, hey, we want money. And
Yep.
then he'd say, hey, we're coming for money. I'd say, you know what, you guys come here once every 5 years, you ask for money, you don't tell us what it's about,
Yep.
and then you wonder why people don't get involved.
Yeah.
What if, instead of just asking for a big chunk of money, how about a little bit and you guys
Yep.
keep coming back? And now it's changed. Like
Yeah.
Christina's in this office telling us what BORPAC's about. Before it was like I had to sneak and invite you to a party and then you learn.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's all over. I mean, I've talked about this every year and so many times and brought so many of you people on. It's so relevant for our industry, so I just
Yeah.
can't say enough. But that was the story you're telling came to fruition, but at first there was a fight. Like we hear
Yeah.
from you once every blue moon, but now you guys are on it.
And Joe, isn't there something, Christina, YPN, 1,000 a year
Yeah.
for 10 years? Is that still going?
Yeah, so the YPN, which is the Young Professionals Network, by the way, Young Professionals Network is open and available to everybody. So there is not an age limit. There's a big misunderstanding that committee is only for specific age groups, which is not true. But YPN does have what's called a 10 for 10 pledge. The 10 for 10 pledge is that you will invest $1,000 a year for the next 10 years to become a $10,000 investor. They have it set up to where you can do a monthly payment out of your account. I think it's like $100. Yeah, it must be $100 a month or something along those lines, to where it's a kind of set it and forget it. Or like the way I like to do it, I am a major investor. I do make my contributions every year. I usually say the first closing of the year, I just pay my investment and then I know I'm done for the year. But again, we can work with you to try to make that happen. The coolest thing is when you become a 10 for 10 pledge member, you get the plaque, you get a little pin, and then after you have your completion, you get, some award. You also get invited to different events. If you ever travel to any of the mid-year or end of year meetings that we've all been going to, or many of us have go to all the time, they have special events specifically for YPN and 10 for 10 recipients. And again, this has been one of my other pushes because I like to try to help people understand where the real value is. I think the real value is the work that we're doing on the ground with the political work, but you can leverage that into sales opportunities for your future as well. So becoming a YPN member, 10 for 10 pledge member, major investor, it gives you access to other agents across the nation who kind of align with you. And again, it's just those little things that kind of set you apart. And I think I've done very well sales-wise by making those relationships and connections. But yeah, there is that opportunity as well.
And I think some of you will be approached by people to go to an RPAC meeting or, 7:30 at Trump Tower, in October. Go
Yeah.
check it out.
We do have, what is the one that we have coming up? It's at the Brinkus property.
Yes, there's
That's in.
Yeah, it'll be promoted pretty broadly, so you'll
Okay.
see a flyer for it. That's through the state association.
Yeah.
All of the people running for the legislature that we've endorsed are going to be hosted at this property that Terry Brinkus has in Henderson. That's supposed to.
I've heard it's beautiful. I've never been.
Yeah, it's supposed to hold like
amazing.
1,000 people, but they're going to have valet parking. The governor's going to speak for 20 minutes, so he's going to be there right at 5 speaking for 20 minutes. So we're going to have like a 4:30 arrival for everyone. But that'll be promoted widely. It's going to be in about a month. But you'll see, if you see a candidate forum announced, that's the event. And it's going to be very well attended. Henderson mayor, the sitting governor, and then everyone that we've endorsed for state senate and state assembly.
And if I remember, when I got dragged to one a decade ago, I think we talked straight.
Yeah.
At Trump Tower, and then I came in maybe better. But what made me want to do it is I met Jack Woodcock.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the famous Jack Woodcock menu dinner thing?
Yeah, if you either have a seat at the table or you're on the menu. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Either seat at the table or on the menu.
Well, I worked at the legislature for 10 years in the Senate, and the biggest thing that would kill someone's great idea is if their team wasn't united. We had the Clark County Education Association fighting with the Nevada State Education Association because they had different versions of the same good idea. And they didn't get past me. I'm the staffer in the Senate Majority Leader's office, and they couldn't get past me because they said, he's not even going to talk to you. They're like, what do you mean? We want him to pick a side. I'm like, yeah, we don't do that. You guys don't agree with yourselves, so your issue's dead. If that's the way to kill your issue, is infighting. We've been remarkably successful at, if we disagree on something, we disagree behind closed doors, but then we're a united front when we walk out together. And so it's vital that we do that to prevent things like a 10% tax on your commissions. So that's the program to the high school government lesson on why we exist, what it is to uncheck that box, and different ways that you can participate. And I think the October 27th hockey game event's going to be fun. It'll be like a late afternoon happy hour at the realtor's office, and then a bus down to the game.
Yeah. And I am available if anybody has questions about what your participation level has been this year. I just need your NERDS number, and I can look that up. If you want to contribute because you think you checked off and you want to at least participate with that 15, I can help you. If you want more information on other levels of contribution, I can help you with that.